Hello everyone. I will request you to please turn on your cameras and we can start by introducing ourselves. I'll go first. My name is Shakti Chowdhary and I am Founders Associate at JSPF Scholarship. And whoever would like to go first, you guys can start introducing yourselves one by one, or I will nominate one of you. Any volunteers to go first?
I think let's just go alphabetical order. That's the best way because volunteers are very rare in this kind of a setup.
Okay.
Let's just go alphabetical order. It's all right. First is with A. I think Anushka. I can see the list here.
Hello. Hello, I'm Anushka and I am from Bhopal. I'm currently studying user experience design in Symbiosis.
All right. So just a brief, okay. Now that we are doing a session on how to attempt interviews in general, like this is one of many interviews which you will have to attempt in the near future, right? So first things first, I'll probably give you guys a set of things which you need to remember. Always keep your video on, never go off video. First thing. Second thing, when we do introduction, just ensure you tell your name. Let's follow this pattern: your name, where you are from, what you're studying, and what are you looking forward for today's session. That's about it. Let's try that. Okay, guys. Anushka is done. Do
I
we
think
want?
Arnav
Yes.
is.
Shakti, I think I'll give you the lead here. You're the moderator here, so please start calling one by one, and we can have introductions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you. Arnav, I think it dropped off. So okay. Second one is Dharnesh. Dharnesh, could you unmute yourself and introduce?
Good evening to all. My name is S.A. Dharnesh. I am currently pursuing undergraduate course BTech IT in Anna University MIT campus. And my native is Udumalpet. And I am currently studying BTech IT course in Chennai. And I look forward to this beneficial section.
Okay, that was really good. Dharnesh, let's go next to Harshvardhan. Harshvardhan, would you unmute yourself and introduce?
Yeah, I messaged in the chat box. I'm having issues right now and traveling to it.
Oh, all right. Harshvardhan has put it in the chat box. So next one, let's say we have multiple people from M. Madhumati Srinivasan.
Yeah. So hi everyone. I'm Madhumati. I'm from Chennai. I'm currently pursuing BDES Communication Design in Dot School of Design, Chennai. And this session actually, this is my next dose of motivation in the journey. So yeah, looking forward to some tips regarding the interview session.
Really good, Madhumati. I'm sure you'll find whatever you're looking for in this session. Pranav, would you like to go next?
Yeah. Good evening, all. I am Pranav Zadal. I am from Maharashtra, and I am currently pursuing BTech in Mechanical Engineering from NIT Tiruchirappalli. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Nice to meet you all, and I am eager to learn what will happen in the season next. Thank you.
Saurabh, would you like to go next? Saurabh Jha. I think he's not able to speak. So let's go with Sentruvel.
Hello, all. I'm Senthil. I'm currently pursuing my BTech degree in civil engineering from NIT, and I'm eagerly waiting to prepare myself through this session.
All right, Sentruvel. Thank you for the introduction. Sneha, will you go next, please?
Yeah, also I'm really sorry about not being able to turn on my camera. I'm basically outside. So I'm Sneha, pursuing BTech production, second year in IT teaching.
Okay. Swapnali.
Yeah, hi, my name is Swapnali. I'm from Mumbai. I'm studying visual communication and strategic branding in Srishti, Bangalore. I'm looking forward to this session to get to know more about the interview process and how I should go about preparing for it.
Okay. So that's about all the participants for today. Monica ma'am, would you like to introduce yourself before we begin the session?
Sure. Okay. So, hi everyone. I am Monica Roy Chowdhary. I graduated out of NIT Trichy in 2017 as a BR graduate. Then I went ahead to do my MBA from Symbiosis in 2019. I graduated in 2021. And after 3 years, right now, I'm working at Maersk Line as a customer success partner. So yeah, it's been a long journey, but not really a really long journey, but yes, it has been a fruitful one. And I have switched across a lot of paths. But yeah, it's really nice to see you guys and actually come up to this session. Thank you for being here. That's it. Yeah.
We are looking forward to this.
Okay. So do we have any other format we go about, or should I share my screen? Or Shakti, is it fine if you share the screen? It'll be fine? Actually, wait, I'll just do it. It's all right. It's all right. No
Yeah.
worries. Okay. Just let me know once you can see. Yeah?
Yes, it is visible.
It's visible now? All right,
Yeah.
great. So now that all introductions and everything is done, but my video's gone off, guys, because there's some issue with my camera here. But yeah, just excuse me for that. So yes, cracking the interview code. Now let's just I would like this to be interactive, so I'm going to start with a lot of questions. So can one of you guys tell me what was the major reason why you first applied for Jitesh Raj scholarship? I mean, what was the major, what is JSPF, or what is the ideology behind the team? Why would you want to be here? I want answers from like 2 to 3 of you guys, so I understand if we are in line as to where we are approaching. And then we go into details about what exactly is or are you supposed to keep in mind. I want to first understand from you guys about JSPF in general. Maybe Sapnali, so you're the last person. So yeah, why not? Why don't you go first?
Yeah, sure. So obviously, I came to know about JSPF scholarship through a college mail that was sent to everybody, and I was interested in applying for it, not only for the obvious monetary benefits of helping me with the scholarship, but also I realized that while applying for the scholarship, I would have to do multiple projects, and the versatility of these projects helped me sort of understand and grow a little more. And like I got to learn many things just by applying for this scholarship. And I think that was a
So, sorry to
for me.
interrupt. So, Swapnali, when you say you got to know many things, so can you
Yeah.
share a few highlights, few things which maybe
Yeah,
not too,
yeah.
yeah? So
Yes,
we'll go
yes.
case by case basis.
Yeah, sure. So, for example, one of my essays was on grassland deforestation, which before I came to know about this in a college study trip, but I got to explore it more during my research for this essay. Um, uh, Previous to this, I wasn't really aware that there could be deforestation of grasslands as well. So that was a new thing. And then my other essay, which was, I think it was the community essay, which was a completely different topic. And it was how my college, Srishti, is slowly turning into an elitist institution. And while researching for that, I came to know about how um, class and caste and all of these things play such a major role in a student's college life. And while looking at possible solutions for these, I realized that a lot of the things which I was coming up with could have also been like a very superficial solution. Like at first, I thought about how scholarships could be a way for people who can't afford to get into Srishti. But then the recent case in IIT Bombay, where a Dalit student was bullied in school and his in IIT, and which led to him giving up on his own life. So there are a lot of intersectional issues surrounding just in general education also. So I learned, and I was exposed to multiple research papers and a lot of articles while researching for this specific issue as well. So I started off with my college, but then I ended up exploring so many new and different aspects regarding education that I had not expected to branch out to. So those two
Pretty great.
examples.
Pretty great.
Yeah.
So that's where I was heading at, like the whole idea behind the the scholarship is not just you guys following what the brief they have given. Obviously they have designed a brief for a certain set of reasons, but then the reason is that you start asking questions. That's where the whole growth development at your age is going to happen. We'll have one more person, maybe if somebody is a volunteer, like how Sapnali gave us, really brilliant. Can somebody else volunteer to give me an understanding of what the understanding is?
Yeah, can I go?
Yeah, sure, Madhumati, go ahead.
Yeah. So actually, the first time I came across JSPF through a contact, and I was first impressed that it is distributed throughout the year, so that like it's not, the pressure is not on like a few months or just a few requirements which will get over within a week or whatever. So because it was distributed throughout the year, I could like literally think through the process. And the essays actually there were for the essay for the essay for the society. I actually think about a lot of things going around me, and I felt it is a very great opportunity to like voice it out somewhere. So that was I talked about the elderly care that the society is missing. So about that, and actually the most interesting part is the project abstract. So I came up with multiple ideas for the project, and I could take forward only one, but I it kind of opened a lot of possibilities for me, and I realized that I could also step out of my stream, and I'm studying communication design. So, but I stepped into industrial design and I interacted with those people, and I told my professors to guide me on the project, and I came up with a lot of product designs and what was working, what was not working, and how is the industry functioning. So it's just like a small kid getting into the world and simply going for the
Yeah.
what is happening. So just seeing around. So yeah, first I was under the pressure of um kind of being successful at everything, but then I realized it's just a very it's a learning experience. So so then I was like, okay, there's no winning in this. So I was composed and I was exploring a lot of things. So yeah, it's really interesting.
That's really great. I mean, so yeah, I'll just go to the part where just put up. So yeah, this is ideally what JSPF is trying. And the most interesting part why I wanted to ask you guys questions is because I am on the other side of the screen, but you guys are the ones who are going through the process, and it's important for you guys to understand what they're trying to do. So very rightly put, both of you. The Despite your approach being very different towards the whole scholarship, all of both of you, or I would say everybody else, had their own process, I'm sure. All of you guys went through the same process of asking questions as to why you want to do this, why you want to change benefit. And that is where the whole team has been very consciously putting in effort since day one. That first thing is like you need to get clarity, and for anything to have clarity, you need to have the mindset to approach it with the curiosity in mind, right? Once you have that curiosity, you know, okay, fine. Once that curiosity is built, you know that okay, you will end up somewhere. The second thing naturally is like you get exposed, because the more you read, the more researches that is happening, you are going to learn more. And for any interview, JSPF is one interview. Apart from that, let's talk from JSPF point of view, I'm saying any interview, any JSPF interview you're approaching, the key to it is going to be around how much you're reading, how much you're knowing about your own project, apart from it, the relevant stuff which is going to come as a part of your project and yourself in general. The third part, I think both Swapnali and Madhumita, they tracked it very well, is like developing a sense of responsibility. This is very important to develop at this particular age, because this is where you guys are grooming. So that emotional quotient or that empathy factor which is there right now, if you've started to think along those lines, for all of you, that's a really big achievement, I think, from the point of you guys applying to the scholarship. Despite who goes to the final does not matter, but the point that you have actually thought about the community, which comes into people at a really really late age, but then it's a starting process. So I would say that I think you guys are already successful in terms of what the scholarship was trying to teach you guys to it, whoever be the winner, right? And then naturally role models, because you come across so many people in the whole journey. You have your own mentors, you interact with different of people, might be your own peers, who might be, you might look up to them saying that okay, this person is doing something in a different way and I really would like to know about it, right? So when it comes to JSPF interview, I think like any other scholarship interview to it, the structure would be very similar, like it is on the website or your mentors would have spoken to you about. It would be along the lines that you have a tech interview and you have a non-tech interview, right? So generally it will be around, I mean, it goes around, any interview would go around your project, because that is where you have put all your work into, right? And that is where the technical part of it will be there. Since every project is different, I think the panelists would go into those details at their own levels. So those are the things I will not really go into much, because it's about reading and researching as in more possible about your own project. I will go into the other parts wherein I think I think I'll go to the next slide and I'll just try to give a brief. All right. So can you guys tell me that when you think of an interview, what, this is just one image of what an expectation of an interview would be like, right? I want to understand from you guys. So when you go for interviews, or when you think okay, I have to appear for an interview, in one word, maybe in the chat, you just type it out and tell me what goes on in your mind. One word, two words, you can give me adjectives, I'm fine with it, but I want response from everybody. Let's do it in the chat. What comes to your mind? when you think of going for an interview, appearing for any interview for that matter? Let this be an exercise actually. I think I'll give mine because I just recently changed an organization. So I'll start with mine. Where is the chat? Shakti, can you help me with the chat? I'm somehow not able to find the chat. Okay, yeah. So I think the image popped up before, but yeah, this is, I think, the reality for me at least. I panic. That's a very natural response to have even after being in the industry for a while, but a lot of people do panic. But I do want responses. Or else I'm going to start picking names. Okay. Senturvel. Yes, I'm going to start picking names. One by one. I want responses in the chat or anywhere possible.
Punctuality.
Sorry?
You can put the messages in
Punctuality.
the chat box, everyone.
Can you put it in the chat box? Because then, I can pick up and we can discuss about it as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see the chat, right? Great.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just going to keep it open for everybody to read. Okay. Punctuality, all right. Confidence, all right. Anything, okay, self-confidence and hesitation, all right. Anything funky, funny, cool, or something, humility to accept. These are very big words. All right, good that you guys are thinking more. The first thing, nobody gets jitters, like, have to go for the interview and talk and then think what the other person is going to be thinking about. If you don't, then brilliant, brilliant, because that should not be there. Can we have more humility to accept? Okay, cool. But apart from it, sorry guys. Communication skills, okay. Understanding of both parties. Nobody is scared. There's no fear. Sorry, I think there is. Was called more in the submissions. Madhumati, yeah, to be more relevant to the scholarship, elaborate more on the submissions. Okay, fear and hesitations. Okay, all right. So more or less, I think we are all along the same lines. Like, all right. So yeah, I mean, when I'm talking about interviews, generally I'll tell from my experience. Before I actually approached, I used to always think that okay, it's just going to be two people sitting. But then the closer you go to actually sitting in front of people, you start having anxious thoughts because that's a very natural response to have when it comes to people. Shakti, correct. Am I speaking about the interviewers experiencing, expecting? That is exactly where I was coming from, because after you go through, once you actually go till the stage where you have to enter the room, that is where all the questions start. And then you see people looking at you and then you don't know what they're going to ask the question. That is where you start self-doubting. And that is where all the issue starts happening. So when I'm talking about thinking of an interview, uh, as simple as it may sound, it's as easy as it may sound. Like, I think, yeah, this is where you guys are. You have actually crossed so many milestones. So good job, great guys. So how to approach interviews? I think this is just a list of things which I've given it for you guys. If you want, you can note this down. Great. But then yes, the first things first would be that research. Like I was telling, always research. There's nothing like reading enough whenever you're approaching a conversation. So always take an interview from the point for conversation with two people, like how the expectation is there. That is something you need to start taking from your point of view, and be prepared or open to the kind of questions that the person sitting next to you is going to in front of you is going to ask, because the point is always going to be there in their mind that they are coming with a lot of experience and they know a lot more. So they might want to dig in as much deeper as much as I have presented to them. So if I'm looking from JSPF point of view, let's just say when you have your technical interview wherein you have they will ask you questions about your project naturally, because that is what is going to be the one of the factors for them to understand if what you have done, what kind of work you have done, what you've tried to present. And the panelists who are coming will also come with a lot of experience. So the gap generally happens is where you think you have read enough, but they are expecting more basis what we have presented to them. So that is the gap, which is something completely in your hands. And very uh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think there was a background noise. No worries. So yeah, the whole point, what I was trying to emphasize here is research. Read as much as possible. And when I talk about research, there are always two parameters to it. Research about the technical part. Yes, that's the one big factor. But yes, always research about yourself as well, because an interview is like an elevator pitch. You get roughly 15, 20, 30 minutes max. That is not going to, that is not that is the 30, those 30 minutes, let's say even on an upper limit, is something which is going to give the other person an impression about who you are. So that is a big power which you have in your own hands. And it is up to you to drive what the other person is going to think of you. So although it sounds very big and very responsible, it's just very simple. Like uh for me, every time I have taken this approach, whenever you approach an interview, be it anything, scholarship, college, job interviews, anything, just assume you're going to meet a friend, a new friend. You're going to make a new friend, however senior they are, and it's just going to be a normal conversation, because it shows on your face. And it's always very important that you have a very calm composure whenever you're attending any interview, for that matter. So that gives you a lot of clarity, that gives you clarity of approach, that gives you clarity so that you can understand the questions. Because in the jitters, what happens is you lose sight of what is happening. You lose sight of what the other person is saying. You might even blank out, you might even zone out of what they're telling you, and it's a big mess. So the whole point is read enough. The first thing is read enough, because with reading comes confidence. These are all dominoes. They fall one by one. Once you read enough, you know, okay, this is what they're going to ask me, and I'm going to nail it. End of story. The second thing is where the tricky part is. Do not always like. I'm sorry. So I know a lot of us, in the risk of sounding dumb, we end up coming across sounding too confident, which is where the error comes in. That's a mistake which any of you guys might want to avoid going forward for anything in life in general. Because when you're trying to fake something as that very serious, the person in front of you has probably seen a lot of those stages, and what will just happen is they will see through it. So it's fine if you are asking a question which you think is not very smart. It's absolutely fine. But yes, never come across as somebody like, okay, I know this too well. If you don't know, it's no harm to accept that, yes, I do not know. It's fine. Nobody's going to question. You guys are still too young. There is always n number of times. I mean, you might come across things that you don't know. Even I do that. It's fine. It's absolutely fine to accept your mistake and be honest about it, rather than trying to act that, oh, I know this, and beat around the bush. Never do that. With all of those things be in place, confidence is the key, of course, because fear kicks in, specifically when we go and when we see at least like 10 of other people in the same position. It's a human tendency to think that, okay, even I want to be the person. You start involuntarily competing against each other, right? So those are the natural parameters which come into place when you are guys, am I audible? Because I think there's a lot of background noise. Can you let me know if there's problem?
No, you're
Yeah,
audible.
you are.
Yeah. Okay, great. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, the third thing is that yes, confidence is the key, because it is very natural for you to feel overwhelmed, because everybody's a human being. It's a new experience for everyone. Overwhelming Being overwhelmed is a very natural thing. So don't think you are the only one feeling this way. Everybody feels that way. Even somebody 10 years in the industry or anywhere, too confident, even if they look on the face, everybody will feel overwhelmed. How many, okay, from this comes the question, how many of you guys have seen this series Pictures? I think you are allowed to react. Can you get me a vote or something? The Pictures, TVF Pictures, anybody seen it? One person seen it? No? Nobody seen pictures. Okay. What are you guys watching? All right, no worries. It's good to watch series or movies that way because I'll come to the part later on where you're learning. So, all right. So, confidence is the key because, when you're going to make a big decision, like even CEOs, all right, when they probably, this happens to everybody because it's a big decision making even for them. So, everybody is always having a second doubt that, am I taking the right call? Am I doing the right thing? But you have to have faith and you have to be confident about what you have prepared. The major mistake which any of us do is trying to be perfect, which is a myth. It never happens. You are prone to making mistakes, be it an interview, be it an exam, be it anything in general. All you can do is give your best and be honest about what you're doing. All right. Then, yeah, remember to practice empathy. So, this is the point, which is a tip I would give it to all of you guys. Be it any interview you're going, start your first thing as a JSPF interview, always approach the session with a smile. Why I'm saying this is because I mean, in that sets the vibe or that sets the tone to the next 30 minutes which you're going to spend time in general in that setup with the other person or maybe two people. It's a natural tendency. Like if you're going out on the road and you see somebody grumpy, you don't feel like looking at that person once again. Whereas if you see somebody smiling, you'll be like, okay, I don't know this person, but they seem to be happy. So in by chance, if I would like to interact with them, I would be interested to talk to them. The same thing goes in any interview setup or with a friend also. I think you greet them with a happy vibe, despite how much of a stress you're having. Always ensure that whenever you are entering that session, leave every sort of negativity at the door and enter with a positive mind, because that is what is going to decide the next 30 minutes of how the whole session is going to be driving. Yeah. All right. So why I put this point when it came from remember to practice empathy is because you don't know from the point of view somebody else is seeing, right? Like everybody goes through tons and difference of tons of problems in their own lives, and when they are coming to this session trying to give whatever amount of time they have given to assess you, the least any of us can do to make that experience a good one is by approaching the whole session with a happy mind. Because if it is a good, let's say the whole interaction was a beautiful one, for that even 5 minutes the person who is going to interview you is going to think that, okay, this person has something special in them. They're probably setting themselves a little apart or extra from the remaining 10 people whom I've spoken to, right? This is a natural, like, since because I'm all of this is coming from the point that you treat an interview like an interaction and not an interview. The moment you read enough and research enough, you get the confidence to treat an interview just like an interaction. And an interaction with anybody in general is about how much you make out of it. Yeah. And at the end of the day, always keep it fun, and in case it doesn't work out, do not take it too seriously. It's just a learning. You are meant to do one thing at a time. If you do not do something today, you will take a learning from it and you know apply it somewhere later on. That's about it. So I think I'm going to nominate more people here again. Dharanish, I guess, right? Or maybe Anushka here. Okay, fine. Anushka, can I have you on? Yeah. All right. So tell me, Anushka, you have been in college for a year. Has there been any session or any interaction where you have had to, apply for any college club or something, and there was a round of interviews, and what did you? Yeah,
Yes, yes,
nothing.
yes. It has happened a lot.
That has
Like,
happened. Okay, right.
so like in our college, we basically like apply for portfolios if we want
Mm-hmm.
to.
Hmm.
And yes, each of those portfolios will like ask you to, give an interview.
Hmm.
So of course, most of the time, whenever I gave the interview, it would make me feel like jitters before, because I don't know what they're expecting there.
Hmm.
But I guess my college interview was a little different in a way, because they were looking at something which marked some of the criteria. Like for
Hmm.
example, like, if the student is able to manage their time
Hmm.
when they like, do their the club activities.
Hmm.
and along with their, assignments.
Hmm.
If they have the ability to do it and they're confident about it.
Hmm.
So they did look for those kind of like trait.
Hmm.
So this basically one thing I have seen.
Hmm. Uh,
And
like, so did you get rejected in any of those interviews by any chance? Because you have applied to a lot of them, right?
yes. So
So
I got
yeah.
rejected for a few of them
Hmm.
and accepted for a few of them.
Hmm.
So like the rejection was for mainly because since it was like in a design college, so I applied for a design related portfolio, and they were asking for a portfolio, and I could not really present it in a really good way, and they didn't really want that type of art style or something. So in a way, they basically from their point of view whether I would be a suitable candidate. Based on that, they basically whether rejected me in a way.
All right. So how did you go about accepting that rejection? That's where I'm coming in. Like, did you feel why me? Because those kind of
Yes.
questions come.
Yes, at that time I feel like why me, and was I not good enough for this, and those kind of questions.
Right. So that is where I'm pretty sure, because it's very natural. Every rejection is a learning. Absolutely. Ah, yes, correct. My cross interview from Suits. So guys, good. So it's very important that you take learning, right? And which is why I have definitely put this point: do not take failures too seriously, because it's not necessary that you have to ace every time. That's just a very hypothetical situation which we see in movies, but reality is not like that. Okay, in reality you will get rejected because not every role is the right fit for the right candidate at the right time. The requirements is something for for any scholarship or a college interview. The requirement is something which is known by the people who are deciding to interview you, but then you as a candidate do not know what exactly they're looking for. They might be presenting ABC things, but they will probably have XYZ parameters as well mentioned which are unknown to you. So the most important part about approaching an interview is always happening an open mindset that yes, I might be rejected, and if I am, then how do I go about the next one? It's easier said than done, I agree, but then that is something you need to incorporate. That's very important, because that's why I wanted to have one experience from one of you guys. So like Anushka said, it's very natural, it's very human tendency for you to feel that am I not good enough, but it's not about you not being good enough, but it's just that you're probably not there in the right role at the right time. That's about it. It's just an acceptance. It's another day, you take it ahead, move forward. Clear, guys? Okay, so the next one is going to be a quiz. It's not really quiz, but yeah. uh let's see how many of you guys have seen this movie. So, anybody has seen The Intern? I want you guys to speak. You're all on mute. Has anybody seen this movie? I'm pretty sure this is a very common movie. Shakti, have you seen this movie?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yes. Who else? I want you to give me your interest, 2 cents on it as well. But the remaining people, guys, first years, why are you not watching these movies? This is where the learning is. Forget books. For books is there one part of it, but the real life learning, a lot of it is happening from these good movies only. Nobody is seen apart from Shakti. Who else has seen? Let me see in the chat. I don't like seeing English. That's okay. That's fine. Saw it. All right. Cool. No worries. Way back though. Okay. So, okay. Shakti, can you give me your understanding of what you would take from the intern from the perspective of a learning as to approaching interviews? What do you think was this old man trying to do?
I do not exactly remember how the interview in this movie goes, but
Mm-hmm.
in the overall movie,
Hmm.
this man, he is like always proactive in approaching whatever task he has been assigned. He like
Mm-hmm.
takes up the responsibility,
Hmm.
and he goes beyond what his responsibility or role like entails him to do. He tries to help his boss in any way possible, and therefore he becomes an integral part of all their life.
Right. So good. Very good. So Yes. Okay, fine. I will give you an explanation. So the whole plot revolved around this guy being complete misfit into a fashion industry, I think. Yes, where and he was just looking for a job where he could be engaged, and he is like, the age gap is drastic, the kind of work expectation is very different. So imagine somebody like him approaching somebody half his age to give an interview to get hired for the role of a personal assistant in a fashion industry, and he has absolutely no about it. So when we go for interviews also, we are almost in the similar setup, because all of us have some or the other weakness. For him, I think the biggest weakness was that he was above 60, and nobody really wants to have somebody who's 60 plus, because they're like, that's an old man, what is he going to do? He doesn't even know anything, how will he pick up? So the if like Shakti, you mentioned clearly, he was persistent. That's one thing which I wanted to pick out from here. This guy was very persistent. He did not give up throughout the whole journey, starting from his interview process, because he knew there is very much high chances for him getting rejected, but he did not give up on it. The biggest weakness for him for this profile, I would suggest all you guys, if you are comfortable watching the movie, you should, because it's a great learning that way. So being an old man, it's very easy for him to think that, okay, I might not be a good person for this role. I might not be considerable. Somebody better than me is there. But none of that really bothered this guy, because he knew what he had to be done. So from the point of interview, if I'm saying specifically JSPF, I think a lot of us feel that we have a weakness and we get stuck on that weakness. Like let's say language for a matter, it's, as far as I know, I think most of the JSPF panelists are fine with you speaking in the language in the way you're comfortable with. The whole point is that you should be able to translate your point to them very clearly, and instead of making a mess of trying to pretend that you're very good with something, do not. If you feel that you're not comfortable speaking in a particular language and you want to give it a try, always ask. It's always good to ask something when you want to be comfortable about things, instead of assuming that, okay, no, I will be judged if I don't go ahead in this particular way, and then kind of ruin your possible chance at it. Clear? Okay. Yes, he doesn't have ego for somebody working for him. Yes, this is one good movie I would suggest you guys read, go through. Then the next, I have two more references for you guys. Three Idiots. You would have definitely watched Three Idiots. Come on, guys. Somebody. No one. Okay. Madhumati. Right. Great. Awesome. Anushka also great. Definitely yes. Okay. So I think Madhumati and Anushka have already spoken once. Arnav, great. So you tell me, what is the most iconic scene from Three Idiots from the point of this interview in general? I'm gonna mute myself for a while until this sound goes.
Actually, I'm outside right now. Wow, yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, All is Well is it's one of the legendary movies. I mean, Strangers is one of the legendary movie, and All is Well is one of the best quote which I follow in my life also. I mean, it gives us a lots of lessons that movie, and it's related to engineering only, and which in the phase which we have now. Whatever
Hmm.
happens, it was all depicted in the movie in that time, in that era only, 2010, and there are lots of lessons, just like All is Well. Apart from that, there are three main characters. Means they have different passion, but they are doing
I
engineering. So it
Arnav,
is
I'm
a
sorry. I'm
whatever
sorry to
chooses.
interrupt you. I just wanted to ask you, from the point of an interview, what would you take? I mean, let's just go there. Just from the point of an
Okay.
interview, because I think there is a very iconic interview scene in the movie. What?
Yeah.
Yes. So,
This will
what is the learning you
yes,
would
this
take
will
from there?
yeah, we should always means keep our self-esteem or ourselves above everything which will be happening over there. We should not let our self-confidence getting damaged because of anything, something like that.
Fair enough. Okay, Madhumati, why don't you go?
Yeah, actually, during the Rastogi meeting, actually he he didn't realize his worth. So he was like he said, he was very down on self-esteem. And then because of the accident, he kind of, it enlightened him that, not everything is the end, and I still have a chance. So everything, I've already taken the learning from this journey. So this winning in this interview is not um, the main goal. So the process that Rastogi had gone through is a reward enough. So
Fair enough.
he found out something about himself, and he's proud about it.
Mm.
So yeah, that's the most happiest thing for him. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. Great. Anybody else who wants to say? Because I'm more than happy to have volunteers, but I'm picking out because
Ma'am, actually, actually in the chat, I wanted to say in the interview, we would speak about our submissions. It's not that I'm telling you to speak about the submissions.
I got it. I understood. I
You
understood.
got
It's
it,
okay.
right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understood. No worries. I
It's
understood.
typo.
No,
Sorry.
no, it's okay. I understood. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's all right. Anybody else, guys? I'm having very common names. Sneha. Okay, fine. Why not Sneha? I don't think Sneha has spoken as well. Why don't you give? Is it only 3 days or anybody has seen the internship as well?
I haven't seen the internship yet. I've seen the intern, and like when I think of 3D, the very first thing that comes like pops up in my mind is the machine. Like there's this class going on.
Right.
That
Right.
yeah, that's like the most iconic thing from the movie.
Right.
Like
Right.
okay, 3D, and that's like the first thing that comes to my mind. And so if we were to like link it with the point of like the JSPF interview, it would be like to not like use fancy words when it's needed, but I mean it's not necessary that you have to like
Correct.
sugarcoat it or make
Yes.
it more fancy or fancy. It's
Yes.
not really necessary. If you can explain something in simpler terms, you can just go with it.
Right.
So yeah.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Very well said. So the whole point which I was trying to explain through any of it and why I put movies is because we all watch movies on a day-to-day basis. And currently all movies are around that. Like, there is some or the other job sequence. And I think like Shakti put up Suits, it's all about movies. It's all about interviews, about how you approach people. At the end of the day, any interview for that matter, and going forward, you will have a lot of interviews, I'm sure. The whole point is like, how you approach the whole session, how you approach the whole communication with that person, because it is all about building a communication channel with the person or the people sitting opposite to you. They are just as human as you are, but yes, they also expect you to be as truthful as they are probably being. So instead of thinking or freaking out about it, that oh, what will I do, the basic ways how you can deal with it is read enough. Once you're going to read enough, it's going to automatically make you confident that okay, I know at least, maybe not 100%, but I know 85% about it. The remaining 15, if I don't know, it's all right, because we cannot know everything. Everybody does not know everything. It's fine to accept and be have that humility that I might not know everything, I might be rejected as well, but let me give my best. Always approach an interview with a very open mind, with the mindset that it's going to be an experience, it's going to be a learning experience, and maybe after these 30 minutes I will learn something about myself which I did not know 30 minutes before. For every all that being said, for every each of us, every interview is a different experience. For some it might be really good despite them not being selected, for some it might be really bad despite them being selected. So because I know a lot of people who were grilled really horribly during any of the interviews, but then they got selected. Later on they go back, say okay fine, this was probably because of this, but those 30 minutes did not really seem very easy for that person. So whenever you approach, because of the probably with the mindset with which he went, but since he had enough research, he knew that okay, he got through it. So always approach an any interview with a very open mind, with a very positive outlook that I will learn something out of it, be it in my favor or not in my favor, but they will shape me the kind of towards being the kind of person that I will probably be 2 3 years ago down the line. So I think that's it from my side with terms of interviews. If you guys have any more questions, I'm happy to take. Thank you for actually being engaging. You guys did do a good job. That's about me, and these are my details. If anybody wants to reach out to me for any help needed, more than happy to help you guys. So yeah, any questions, anything, or any feedback, or anything more that you guys want to know, I'm happy to help. Anyone? Why don't one of you guys actually summarize this whole thing? That will be the best way. Who will take the onus to summarize it? Somebody who's not spoken till now. I think, yeah. Shakti, why don't you nominate somebody? That will be a fun exercise.
Santur will, why don't you go ahead? I don't, it will be good to engage.
Yeah, sure. We started off with ways to prepare for an interview, the reality and the expectations. And then we have discussed 4 points. For example,
It's okay. It's okay. Take it slow. I just want to understand your learning. You don't have to go point by point about the summary. What was your understanding from this whole exercise or session that we had? And how did it probably help you? Or if there's something more you want to know, that's about it.
yeah, the session was very helpful.
Mhm.
One notable point is being fun in an interview. So that thing, I hope I'll follow.
You should follow. Everybody should follow. Everybody should
Yeah.
follow. So another tip I would go ahead, Sendur, sorry. Summarize more. I want to know more. What the fun part was good. Apart from it, what else are your takeaways?
So can you explain the process, the next upcoming processes of this JSPF function?
Right. So I think the upcoming processes would be the first part is going to be the interview only. That's where is you guys are you complete your submissions and everything, and the next will be the interview. And as far as I know, they are divided into two parts: your tech and the non-tech interview. Tech will largely revolve around your project in general, in detail, and the non-tech would be more around trying the panelists trying to understand you as a person and what your objectives are for this for JSPF in general, why you have chosen this program, then what is your expectation from this program, what have you learned in this journey. Along those lines, they will try to probably understand the kind of mindset you're having and go around it. Yeah, Shakti, can you, if required, can you loop in more, because you have been through this as well as Harsha as well. You can let me know.
We'll first be announcing a shortlist from the applications that the candidates have submitted recently, and those who get shortlisted, they will be like called for interviews. The interviews will be online. That is, first will be, as you said, the tech interview that is based on the project, and the second is value-based interview. So the value-based interview will revolve around the values of JSPF and how well do you align with those, and like what in general values you practice in your life. We'll try to gauge like how will you benefit if you are the winner of the JSPF. How will you benefit from this program, and the further perks of that. And this process will take nearly around 1.5 months to be over completely. And by end of September, there will be your convocations or announcement of the winner of this program, hopefully.
So yeah, I think that would answer questions more or less. Any other questions, guys?
Thanks.
Anybody, any question, anything that you want to know specifically?
Hello. I had a question related to that only. Like you just talked about the technical interview, and I never had any technical interview in the first place. So I'm like here want to know what kind of question would they ask in a technical interview?
So Anushka, being over the, if you ask me over the top, it's going to be every project. there is no set structure. I would say that, like I could give you more about the soft skill part because that's generally how it goes for everything. But when it goes for a technical interview, it is going to be largely around the project you have worked on, which is why I mentioned that you have to research and know in and out about the project that you're doing. That is where I was coming from. So it's very important that you know what you have presented as a project to the panelist, so that you can be ready with probable questions that might come up in return. So I don't know the project you have worked on, but the brief you have submitted, the panelists are the ones who will, be subject matter expertise in some field or the other. And then they will ask you questions basis what they want to know from your project. It's completely around what you have presented. And in order for you to do a best job or do a good job, to justify the hard work that you have put in, you need to know about what you have done in the project, so that you are prepared to answer the kind of questions they are asking. The more you know detail in depth about what you have done, I don't think any question, at least 85% of the questions, you'll be able to easily answer, because it's each
Okay.
project on its own. It's not going to be the same structure for everybody. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Can one expect suggestions for their drafts? I didn't understand. Can you clarify?
Let
So far,
me.
we have submitted.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So far, we have submitted 4 drafts. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So can one expect the suggestions and ways to improve it, even
Sent.
after the JSPF scholarship?
See, the uh, submission has been like that was your final submission, so there will not be any changes in the submission after this. But we'll send a detailed feedback after this whole process is over. The JSPF team usually sends out a very detailed feedback on whatever you submitted for the application. So for like there were four essays, right, that you submitted. So there will be a very good feedback about everything that was that needed to be improved or that could be improved in your application, or what parts were like very good in your application, that will also be highlighted in that feedback. So it is usually a 5 to 10 page long document. So don't worry about the feedback.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Also, I think in addition, I think I missed out saying that largely, as if I'm not wrong, the essays that you have submitted, they will also be shared with the panelists, and they might want to understand your mindset about writing it. Yes, Shakti?
Yeah.
So that also will be a part of maybe the non-technical one, because that's where they will be probably reading and kind of assessing where you have come from and what you're wanting to say, and that could be a building ground of the interview going forward, the non-technical interview in general. Yeah, more questions, guys?
Actually, ma'am, I had a question about the project abstract. So actually, there was no place to mention that from when to when the project took place, but so I didn't mention the date. But should I mention it in the interview? Uh,
You are
because
free to. I think you're free to mention, because it's like, okay, so when I'm talking, like, I think one of the first questions, you guys can note it down, but one of the few questions that generally come across in any interview would be, first thing for JSPF could be, why JSPF? Why would you choose this program? What have you learned from it? Then
Monica ma'am, your
hello.
voice. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
back.
All right. Okay. Great. Yeah. So what I was saying is that I mean, it all depends about if it's making sense to you.
Oh, just a minute, guys. Just dropped off the phone. But I think what she was trying to say is that you will be asked questions regarding
Yeah,
the,
I think I got dropped off the meeting. There was a network issue here at my end.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So regarding the date, Madhumita, it's absolutely up to you, because the whole point is that, is it making sense to you, or is it adding any value to the project brief that you're trying to tell them? If it is, then yes, please go ahead. There's no restriction about this should be there or this should not be there. If it is making sense to you, if you think that it's going to be value addition to your project brief or explanation about the project, all it's more than it's more than enough that you put that fact up. But if you think it's just an added factor or it's just an additional thing, then you can skip it out. But it's totally up to you. That is your discretion. There's no right or wrong about mentioning it there or here. It's up to you totally. So these are the general kind of questions that come up in interviews, that why this project, why did you do it, what did you learn out of it? Same thing with your essays, I think. What was your thought process behind? Because the thing is, all interviews come from the pointer that they want to understand you and your thought process behind it. They are not very interested about what is written, but about why you wrote it. That why factor is very strong, and only once that is clear, you will be able to explain. So don't go it from the point that I have written this and this is what I will say. It might be completely a different question. They might want to just understand your thought process, why you thought that way, what was your approach to it, and if that is clear, then you don't have to worry about anything else. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Can we opt for offline interviews? Shakti, I'm not entirely sure about this, if it's offline or online interviews are there.
No, there won't be any offline interviews, because the panelists that we have, most of, I mean, lot of them are based either like somewhere entirely different in India, different place in India, or so Pawan sir is like right now based in US. So offline interviews will not be possible. The interviews will be online for everyone.
Right. So I think that answers your question. We have one more question. Okay, cool. Anybody else? Anything? All up for questions? That's it. Nobody has any questions. Then I am expecting everybody to do phenomenal in all the internship interviews and everything. All the fears gone down the gutter. We will all do very nicely. Yeah. Great. So I think I'll just add one thing. When I think I'm forgetting the name. Senthur well mentioned, right? We'll keep the fun element, I think. So I'll just give you one example. And this is something I've done in all my interviews. So there's one common dreading question which comes, tell me about yourself. That's something always been a dreadful thing for a lot of us. This is one thing, is that it's a big dreadful thing. Tell me about yourself. You don't know what to say. You don't know what to do. It's a big thing, right? So my tip, which I give to everybody, is that always go with a prepared speech. Keep 3 versions of it. One is a 2-minute long version. So think about what is relevant for them to know about you. Is it relevant that they know where you have come from? If it is, then yes, but always write it down. Because why I'm saying is write it down is, the moment you start writing it out, you'll scratch it 10,000 times and then you will come to a good draft. Write it down always. That's one of the most one of those questions which is like, we'll take care of it later on, but that is what decides or makes the interview or breaks it. Okay. Always have like a good 2-minute essay which you can speak about yourself. One version, that another version you keep it something which is just very short, 1 minute one, and another one, and even probably an even shorter version, like a couple of lines, because you don't know what the expectation is there. Keep 2 versions essentially, 1 minute and 2 minute. 1 minute would be a shorter one and the other 2 minutes would be a longer one, so where you can give more details. Start writing it down and always practice it before you go for the interview. Look at yourself in the mirror, memorize it, or not memorize, but at least know the structure what you're going in. That will give you the confidence to set the whole interview in process. Okay. The second thing is, when you are drafting it, try to make it little interesting. I'm not saying fake it, never fake it, but make it interesting. Like this one thing I always say, like apart from my name and everything, I always mention it in the end. Like I consider, like as a USP, I always say that I'm a very down to earth person, both metaphorically and in reality, because I am very clumsy and I keep falling down. And trust me, out of the 8 interviews that I have given, all of them have set a tone, because that brings in a human element. I have a tendency of bringing humor in my interviews, which cracks the code for me. So this is also an exercise for you guys as to how you want to approach it. So once you start writing down your answers, always write down your answers. Be it a short one, long one, but have the practice of noting down, go through your projects, go through your essays, and then review them from the point of an interview that what is a question that they can ask here. Note down those questions and start writing answers for yourself. Then you will know that is it making sense, yes or no. Because on the spot thinking when it comes to such things, it's never a thing. It's never a safe thing to do. It will never work out also, because you are thinking that I know everything, but you don't know what bouncer kind of a question they'll come up with. And once it's like, okay, I'm not prepared, your mind goes into freeze state. Okay. So that was just the last set of things. Dharanish, when is our interview meeting? I think that is a communication which will come from the JSPF team, Dharanish. I will really not have information on that. Smart, funny answering moments. Like this was one of them. Generally, it comes like very funny questions come to me. So because I have changed so many paths, like I was an architect right now and I'm in the shipping industry. So people have asked me a lot of questions like, you are very design oriented. Why did you change? And do you think you're wasting your time here? So how do you think you're utilizing your creativity here? You will stop being creative if you come to this field. That is the question, or that's the question is most of the other comments most interviewers ask me. So generically my answer is like, for the first time it was on spot, but then generic my answer is like, creativity is something which can be used everywhere. It's not necessarily that only if I'm sketching I'm being creative. Apart from it, anywhere, any solution, any problem solving skill requires some sort of creativity to it. So you are just lucky that I'm getting to use that creativity in your company. So that also kind of brings, I always try to have it like, a little bit of humor, so that even they are like, okay, fine, she knows what she's doing. That's the whole mindset with which you come. So it sets a tone that you're not too arrogant about yourself. You know where you're placed at. You're confident, but you're not too confident, overconfident that, okay, I'm the boss of this place. That is the wrong attitude to have. Think, always listen to the question carefully, think, and then give an answer. If you think that there's a very subtle, light way to go about it, please feel free. Always. And that happens only once you approach this whole thing as a, it's as a normal conversation setup. Like, okay, this is just a talk with my friend, or somebody is maybe a professor whom I like, and I'm just going to have a quiet chat with this person and come back. Yeah. So I think that's it. If nobody else has any questions, then I think we are good to close this session, Shakti.
Can we take a photo of us all before we leave?
Sure, why not?
Everyone can turn their cameras for a moment. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, guys, I think Jitesh Rao scholarship, I think that is empty.
Yeah, she is outdoors right now.
Okay, no worries. Munesh, Sneha, I think you guys are also off camera. Just
Actually, I'm
try.
outside. That's right.
I think
No,
it's
no.
fine. It's fine. You've been there in the session. It's fine. Doesn't really matter. It's okay. Okay. Or else I'm just going to take a screenshot of this. 1 second. Okay, guys. 3, 2, 1, smile. 1 second. Sneha is there. Sorry, Sneha. Yes, please.
Actually, I'm just fine without the video, to be honest. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Sorry, guys. Once again. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, this is fine. 1 second. Just another second. I'll take one more picture. I think Madhumita, you might have to smile a little more. It didn't come properly in this one. Just a second. Let me just save this. Okay, once again, 1, 2, 3, smile. Great. Thank you, guys. This is done. Thank you for being a good audience. I really had fun talking to you guys. And if there's anything you need help, please feel free to reach out to me. Yeah? All right. Bye, guys. Have a good weekend.
Bye, Monica ma'am. It was a really excellent session with you.
Thank you. All this. Thank you. Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Hi, thank you very much. It was a really great session.